every single year, I was like, oh, this is gonna be my last year. I was like, do I wanna keep doing this for the rest of my life? I wanna travel the world, help people, and get paid to do it.
I'm sure folks here are wondering, how are you making money?
Brands just started nonstop reaching out. And the lady was like, are you shocked that like Nat Geo is like reaching out to you right now? And I said, no, ma'am. And I brought up my phone and I was like, every single day I read off my affirmations. It says, one day you will have a travel show. And she's like, oh, I have goosebumps. When you got direction, people follow in line. But branding was one of the biggest things. The riches is in the niches. And I was like, I don't know my niche. And she was like, it's right there. You're fat and black. Talk about that. And I said, hey.
The other thing is, what the hell are we waiting for? What's special about 5 years that it's not now? Just do it. When you run from the challenge and you run from the hard, you ain't living. You might be alive, but you ain't living.
Want to make more money? You are in the right place. Welcome to the Hello 7 podcast. That's 7 as in 7 figures. I'm your host, Rachel.
Hello, and welcome to the podcast studio. Woo, woo! Yes. So I am so delighted today to be hanging out with my friend, Jeff Jenkins. I'm so excited for you to meet him, to get to know him, and we're going to get all up in his business, okay? He told me it was okay, so we're doing it. So Jeff, my first question for you is, what did you want to be when you grew up? Like, what were you like as a kid?
So, I mean, growing up, before everything came at me, I was like, oh, I want to be an astronaut. You know, like an astronaut. I think that was the one thing. And then when I got to like preteen age, it was I wanted to be Steve Irwin.
Yes.
Crocodile hunter.
And look, you kind of are Steve Irwin.
Come on.
I feel like it always leaves clues. That's why we have to look at our childhoods and say, like, what was I looking at? What was I drawn to? Because even if it's not exactly what we thought, it's like there's some element in there. There are clues there, right? On whatever it is that you're meant to be doing.
Oh, for sure. And that's something that hit me as I was doing what I do now, and I know we'll get into it, but I just kept thinking to myself, like, for me to start dreaming big, I had to think about my childhood dreams. And that's when it was like, oh, wait, I did want to be an astronaut back in the day. Like, why did I not do that? Like, I let the pressures of the world or what my parents or my family taught me not to do, or the people being like, oh, now that's nothing you can do. You should just go get a job. And that's when I had to change that.
Exactly. Because when we're children, we're like, oh, there's no limit, right? There's no reason why you can't be an astronaut. There's no reason why you can't be Steve Irwin, right?
Come on.
But then when we get older, we come up with all of these reasons on all this fear, and that is the work. That is actually the hard part, is to just shed all of the nonsense that you've been fed, get into spaces like this, talk to people like this, right? Have friends like this.
Come on.
So that you are constantly reminded that those childhood dreams, of course, are possible, that you are actually limitless. There is actually no limit. And anywhere you see a limit, it's actually a lie, right? Because there's a way to overcome that or run through it or go around it. There is a way. We're just not getting creative enough because we've already decided it's not possible, right? So tell me how, so you wanted to be, and what was it about Steve Irwin or being an astronaut that you were interested in? What do you think was drawing you to that?
I think it's the exploration part of it all.
Yes.
Like, you know, like, yeah, like, I just heard, what is his name? Neil deGrasse, I forget his name.
Yeah, Tyson.
Neil Tyson deGrasse. And so he was saying, he mentioned how, like, people was like, why did we go to space? Why did we go to the moon? And he was saying, we spent billions of dollars to go to this place, and it was a waste of money. And he said, no, it wasn't a waste of money. He was like, us going to the moon opened up people's mind to exploration, open people's minds to possibilities, so that they can be able to like stretch their imaginations and create the things that we even have today. So I think that's one thing that I've always just been caught up on, is just the exploration part of it. The wonders. Me and my brother used to play adventures when we were little kids. So my bed, I would be on punishment. My mom, I try not to bring this stuff up with her because I don't know how. I feel bad for her sometimes. But yeah, well, we were a handful, but she'll make us go to bed at like 2:00. And that was it. Like, peace. See you later.
Wait, 2 p.m.?
2 p.m. Yeah.
She was like, I have done all that I can do today.
Yeah,
Y'all gotta go
and
to
it
bed.
was. And it was one of those things to where I now knowing she just wanted to get rid of us and have us go to the room. But we had to like occupy our time. And so me and my brother would sit, we'll make our bed or our pallet at the time because it depended on where we were living. We were living on the floor or in a bed. So we made that like our spaceship. We made that our big ship, like a cruise ship or something like that.
Yes.
Sailing down the Nile River or the Amazon River or going into space. So I've always had this imagination as a kid. And so I think it's definitely gleaming from those.
Yes, I love it. Okay. So you go from wanting to be an astronaut, wanting to be Steve Irwin, doing adventures with your brothers. Okay, so now what happens next? Like you go to college, like...
Well, yeah, before college, I didn't even think I was going to go to college. I was in high school. We're just a working family. Like my family knows how to work. My mom was a general manager, and then she was like the regional manager for Boston Markets. So the whole family worked for Boston Market. I did. It was just one of those things, like you go work. And so it was one of those things of like, I've heard some friends tell me that like college was the only option, but my family, they gave us options. And so even in my 11th or 12th grade year, I was actually going to quit high school and just go to work because I've seen other people do it. Some stuff happened in school to where I couldn't play football anymore and I would have to go to another school. And I was like, nah, I ain't doing that. So college was never a thing. My aunt helped me get into college. And that was because I was still caught up on like, this dream is not possible. I'm not smart enough to be in college. And so my aunt asked me the question because I remember the day everybody kept saying, do you want to go to college? And I kept saying no to them. And it was not until my aunt asked me, she was like, Jeff, do you want to go to college? And I said no. And she was like, no, let me ask that again. She was like, if we were able to, like all the paperwork, all that stuff was to actually like go through, we fill it all out, and somebody accepted you into a college, would you go? And literally every like wall that I had up went down and it was like, yes, ma'am, I actually would go to college. And so I use that now for everything I do because you make your own limitations, you make your own walls and things like that.
You
and so,
decided that you were rejected before you even got
yes,
there. And
yes.
I also just want to point out, like, what, you're like 8, 10, saying I want to be an astronaut, and less than 10 years later, you already don't think it's possible.
Not even a little.
See how fast it happens? Like, that's why we got to take care of these teenagers and keep reminding them, you could do anything. It does not matter, okay?
Come on. But it's the school system, like the school system. And I was a teacher, so I actually graduated from Florida A&M with honors.
Yes.
Which is mind blowing.
Okay.
Yeah, like I mean, I went literally almost 2.5 semesters making straight A's, which was like mind blowing because I ain't making straight A's since I was in like middle school. Yeah. But then I was then caught up on like, what do I want to do? So I thought about I was doing business. I got out of business and went into music education. I thought I was going to be a singer. And then even in me wanting to be a singer, once again, people's limitations started coming on me of being like, you know what? It's really hard to become a singer. And make that your career. So how about you like become a music educator? Because when you get out of school, you can probably get a job.
First of all, when you find yourself saying to somebody, or if somebody is saying to you, it's really hard to, whatever your dream is, just tune out. Because you know what? It's also really hard to hate your job, right? It's also really hard to like hate what you're doing with your career or with your working life 40 hours a week. That's also really hard. So as you choose your heart, it's going to be hard no matter what. Tell me something I don't know, right? Like that's not helpful. Right. Don't tell me how hard it is, okay? Just tell me, like encourage me. Say, that's amazing. Let me know how I can help you do that, right?
Yeah, and learning how not to be the lid for people's ceilings.
Exactly.
You know? Like,
yes.
And I learned that actually from an ex-girlfriend. I felt like she really became very successful after she stopped dating me. I was like, was it me? I think it might have been me. Could have been. Because my limited beliefs, she didn't have them. And so I was like, man, I know for a fact that I will never do that again. And I haven't because my wife is very successful. She's right here in the front.
Yes, she is.
But like being in school, I became a high school choir teacher. And I'm going to just go down through the journey of like all this stuff. So I became a high school choir teacher. I taught for 9 years. Every single year, I was like, oh, this is going to be my last year. 9 years later is when I actually finally did. And that's because my stepfather passed away from a heart attack. And he died at like 54. And I was like, man, that's like 20-something years from now. That's like 22 years from now. And I was like, do I want to keep doing this for the rest of my life? And I was like, the answer was heck no. Like, I was already trying to quit before. So it really it rocked me. It made me start thinking to myself and asking myself a lot of questions. And I thought I was actually going to like work in the church, like work in church. That didn't work out. And I went on a mission trip to Rwanda. And we went there to go build not water wells. We went to go build gardens, like these keyhole gardens in this community called Kajeyo. And while we were there, me and my friends was like, yo, this community needs like water. And so we was like, man, we should help try to figure out a way to bring water to this community. None of us was engineers. I didn't know how water came out of the ground. So it was one of those things of like how are we going to do this? But the fact that we were able to go back a year later and start this organization to go build water wells and like to take a dream or something that we saw and made it into a reality and be able to do these things, like that's when I was like, okay, you know what? Like that inspiration's here now. Like this inspiration of like, man, let's go for it. And so it was while I was on that trip building our first water well, I started asking myself the question, okay, Jeff, if money wasn't an option, back to my aunt's question almost. Like if whatever you were to dream up was to actually happen for you, like what would you actually do? And I gave myself permission to be patient with the answer. And I promise you, I remember. Go ahead.
Yes. You gave yourself permission to be patient with the answer. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Listen, the thing I want y'all to understand is that when you have a scarcity of time, when you're like in a rush all the time, right? Like that is the opposite of abundance. That's like this idea that like, I gotta rush and if it don't come tomorrow, it's never gonna come. That's scarcity, right? Like that's not helping you. Giving yourself space to think. Right? Mm-hmm. Not always being in a rush, not always learning how to be in the middle, like Ivy said this morning.
And so with that, like I was in this place of, okay, it actually took me 3 days to come to this conclusion. Because I went through all the things that I felt like society would be okay with me doing. So I was like, I should go back to med school and become a doctor or go to law school, do something like that, something respectful. People will be like, oh, that's great. I'm glad you did that. But it came to my attention. This is literally, once it came to me, I was like, oh yeah, that's it. I was like, I want to travel the world, help people, and get paid to do it. And it was literally because I already went through every possible like idea or like thought or dream that like, I can do that. I don't know about that. When I hit to that, it was so easy for me to commit right then to that idea of traveling the world, helping people and getting paid to do it. And that's what started me on my journey of becoming a content creator and now TV host.
Yes. Absolutely. Amazing. I love that you tell that story because it was also a mission trip for me. I went on a mission trip when I was 19, 20, something like that. And with my church, we went to Barbados and we were like literally jumping cow patties and like we had to like level the ground, like just you're just moving dirt. Uh-huh. And I was like, it looks the same. I don't understand what we're doing, but I'm just gonna keep moving the dirt because that's what we're supposed to be doing. And we were just like planting gardens and just beautifying this campus for like troubled youth that were living there, and it was like a farm. Anyway, that experience, I was just like, I loved being with another culture. I remember at dinner the first night, I sat next to this Bayesian boy, and he was really cute too. So like that, that messed you up because you're like, why he's so cute? When I tell you, his accent was so thick and I couldn't understand what he was saying. And I was so embarrassed. You know how you just keep saying, what'd you say? And you're just like, I'm an idiot. I'm embarrassing myself in front of this boy. But it was just, I loved getting to know all of the boys that were there, like the staff, the culture. Not in that way. Not in that way, just friends. But it was just like being in another place, seeing another way of living, being in another culture, right? Especially being in a predominantly Black culture was so like, it was therapy. You know what I mean? And then I just had the travel bug after that. I was just like, I have to go everywhere. I need to see all the cultures, you know? And then I just became obsessed with traveling and I went on every mission trip I could. I went to Ecuador, I went to some other places. And then I started just going on like study abroads when I got to college, you know? But yes, those mission trips, like it gives you that moment of just, because you're not in a hotel as a tourist. Yeah. Like you are with the people and you feel part of the culture, and you just connect with people. And it's magical.
Oh, for sure. And I love that. I do like hotels now, though.
Yeah. Listen,
put me in
give
a
me
hotel.
a 5-star moment.
Come on.
Literally, my group chat actually makes fun of me because they're like, "Oh, this bougie woman ain't gonna stay there." They're like, "Give her the best room. We don't want to hear her."
Come
mouth.
on. But you know, it wasn't just the mission trip that got me, because I was already traveling before. I was one of the first like avid travelers, like Black person that was an avid traveler, a person of color actually, that I knew around me in my sphere. And even between the generations. So I was starting to travel when I was in college, because I did this program called Camp Adventure, where we got to go to military bases on different, oh, come on, you know about it? Come on. What?
Awesome.
That's incredible. Yeah, and so I did that, and I was even trying to get other Black students to go, because I became the site director, and people would be like, they gave me every excuse. They was like, "Oh, that's too far from my family," or "Can I get on a Greyhound to get there?" And I was like, no. Like, so the fact when I went there, and I was bit by the travel bug when I went to Japan for the first time, and it was while I was there that my mentor, who, I can't believe like how full circle it is. He said to me the second day we got there that life begins where your comfort zone ends. Mm-hmm. And which is mind blowing, because right after he said that, he said, "All right, now, welcome to Japan. Now you're gonna go do an 8-hour scavenger hunt around this city." And I was like, "Wait, what?" Like, bro, I ain't never been anywhere. You know,
called
like
adventure for some.
Come on.
Okay.
But it was one of those things to where it was like, man, it forced me to get out of my comfort zone that quickly. It forced me to like start asking myself, like, what am I missing out on in life? Because I'm trying to stay in my own box. I'm trying to stay in my own bubble. I'm not trying to push whatever. And so me being able to get through that scavenger hunt, I was like, oh, I didn't die. Like, I literally did. I did not know this language. Nothing. And he made us go do all of these things, catch a taxi, order food, get on the train. And I was like, oh, I did not die. So, okay, like this might be that my own fears and things get in my way. And so, and the crazy thing is, the theme of my TV show, Never Say Never, the theme is life begins where your comfort zone ends.
Yes.
So to be able to bring that full circle back to that.
Yes, exactly. All of those influences. It's like it finds its way into our work. I love that so much. Just drop, that's my style. Just drop them in and like, you know.
Come on.
Trial by fire.
Come on.
Okay, so you eventually leave your job. Like, at what point do you become a travel influencer? Or do you just like, are you just traveling and sharing it and then wake up one day and being like, oh, I'm a travel influencer? How did you make this dream of traveling and getting paid and helping people? Like, what was the next step on that journey?
Figure out how to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You know, well, and before I even got into the content creation or doing the water wells, between that time of me going on that first mission trip and doing the wells on the second one, my friend named Roderick, the day I met him, he was like, "You ever thought about being an entrepreneur?" And I was like, "No, I have not." And and he was like, "You should be one day." Like, and I was like, "I should." And literally he helped me, like he schooled me on so much stuff, and I started reselling Amazon books online, and that's what I first started doing. And it was my first like entry level into like entrepreneurship. And so even when I got to doing the water wells and then committing to becoming this content or whatever, like traveling the world helping people, that's when I was like, okay, whatever it is that I'm doing, it has to be a business.
Right.
And so I started going from like thinking about like my brand, my niche. Like branding was one of the biggest things. Like we got to figure this out. And I remember everybody kept being like, find a niche, don't pigeonhole yourself. But that was people's reason for not finding a niche, because they would think we are pigeonholing themselves. And that's not a thing. Like the riches is in the niches. And so I was like, you know what? My cousin, she helped me. She was a PR person. I told her like, hey, I'm trying to brand myself more. She gave me this worksheet to fill out. I filled out the worksheet. It was like, how do you want people to experience you? What's the colors going to be? But then it was like, what's your niche? And I was like, I don't know my niche. And she was like, it's right there. You're fat and black. Talk about that. And I said, hey. No, she was just saying, like, bring it back. Like, make it more simple. Like, you're making this too hard.
Yes,
like,
listen. That is a word for y'all, okay? Do not overcomplicate it. When you still talking, if somebody asks, like, what do? You need to be done in, like, 12 seconds. If you still talking, you saying too much.
If that.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Maybe it's
I've learned to, like, you want them to ask you more questions.
Yes.
You say what you do, and because I help chubby people travel the world. That's what I do. Yes. And then people will be like, ooh, what does that mean?
Yes.
I need to know. And that's what I did. So it became a thing of like, it hit me that I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know anybody talking about like my experiences of traveling the world. Like, I'm a plus size black man traveling around the world. I don't know anybody talking about this.
Yes.
And I was like, and I looked online. I was like, I don't see anybody talking about this. It was always like plus size influencers out there, but nobody was ever considering themselves a plus size traveler influencer. And I was like, that's what I'm going to be. And so, because I know that there's obstacles and challenges that I have when I was married my wife, I was like, you don't think about the middle seat? You don't think about weight limits? You don't think about this? And she was like, no. And I said, what world do you live in? Like, like I literally think about this stuff all the time when I travel. And then come to find out, when I started posting and doing all these things, it resonated with so many people. And so it was like, it wasn't just therapy for them, it was therapy for me. Like I was like, man, this is our community. Like, this is my peoples right now. And then I also kept asking the question. I was like, why is it that when I'm traveling, I never see plus size people out here traveling?
Yes.
And I know there's a whole bunch of us back in the States.
Yes.
So I was like, something up. Something ain't right here. What's going on? So it was like being able to figure out those challenges and being able to find a way to help. And I was being that representation. Like, when people saw themselves represented, they'll get out there and do it. Because that representation, I saw it back in college. Like, nobody saw other black people traveling, so they weren't traveling. Right. It wasn't until Instagram came out that black travel movement started happening.
Yes.
And so people saw themselves like on the internet and being like, oh, okay, I guess I could go there now. And so that was my mindset when it came down to like helping plus size people travel, getting people to live life now, no matter their size.
Yes. I love it. So good. And it's like you're meeting a need, and especially one that you are uniquely in a position to meet, right? It's a marketplace need. And that's the thing you got to look for. It's like, what do I have to offer? And what is the problems that I see in the world that annoy me, right? How can I bring attention to issues that annoy me? You know what I mean? And also serve a need, right? So it serves my business, but it's also helping people at the same time. Because I'm sure, yes.
I was going to say, and all I'm doing is talking about myself.
Exactly.
Or I'm making it so easy. Like, all I'm doing is sharing my experience. Oh, look at me in Paris today. I'm walking down the street.
Yeah.
You know what? It was a little hard today because of these heels. Let me make sure I have on the right shoes. What shoes do I have? I have these shoes on. So work smarter, not harder. Work smarter, not harder. And then I think about this book I read, and I don't remember the title that well, but it's like Shortcuts. I think it's a book. It's like Shortcuts. And at the beginning, he's like sharing his case of like, you don't have to go the long, hard way to get there. Like most presidents don't go through, we don't even understand how we have been conditioned to think that most presidents have probably started their career at this lowly level, and then they worked their way through Congress and the Senate, and then became a president. Most presidents don't even have have political careers that much. You know, like Reagan, Donald Trump, Obama just became senator.
Right, exactly.
I was like, oh. So it was him trying to say, like, there's ways of going about things and there's shortcuts so where you don't actually have to. And then it's something interesting about the people who take the shortcuts. It's the people that understand, like, wait, no, I'm doing too much. Like, I can make a higher impact at this level and I don't have to go through the jungles in this way to get to this level that I'm trying to get to.
Yes. And I don't have to, like, prove myself by going through the desert for 30 years.
Come on.
You know what I mean?
I don't want to go through that desert.
No, I don't either. Like, I'd like to get there faster.
Come on, what's that, 40 days and 40 nights? Or 40 years and 40 nights?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, bro, I hated that Bible story because I was like, there's no way. Like, bro, give me the 40-day path. Like, I'm on that one. Like,
how can it be quick?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, if I have coached you, you have experienced this. Because when somebody tells me in 5 years, in 2 years, if it's anything more than a couple months, maybe I'll let you say 12 months. But I'm like, why? What's special about 5 years that it's not now? Like, what the hell are we waiting for? Is what I would like to. What is going to happen in 5 years that's gonna make it easier? It's just do it. Exactly. You're scared. You're running from it. That's why you want it farther away in the future. And I'm like, do you want your success in the future? Then they get mad when they don't have the success faster. Run towards it. You running from it. You hiding from it. Okay. So.
And I'm learning to. I might not have 5 years. You know, God willing, I do. And my thing is, it's like, what can I do in this time now to make the highest impact that I can? Because I have seen scenarios where people don't make it to a certain age. And I was like, well, shoot, I'm going to do everything I can within this time frame, you know, like, because tomorrow's not promised. That's all I'm trying to say. Now, I'm not living in a place of fear, but I am living in a place of like abundance mindset of like, you know what? I need to live this to the fullest. And that's what I'm doing. So waiting on things to happen for me instead of just going for it is something I'm not doing. It's the high. Turn the highs down. Yeah. Appreciate you.
Yes. And earlier y'all saw the memorial for my sister-in-law, Che, and she passed at 49 last year. And she is such an example of this because she was an adventurer. She was snowboarding. She did martial arts. She was traveling all the time. Like, she left her corporate career where she was very successful, making very good, more money than probably everybody, damn near everybody in the family. And she quit that and started her personal training business and did that, right? She wanted to move. She did that. Like, she did it. And that brings me comfort because she was living, okay? And then also always prioritize friends and family. She was always there for every special event. She missed nothing. And so it's just like, that's an example of how we need to live, right? Like, with the priorities in mind and saying yes to what's on our heart, what we're excited about, right? Like saying yes to adventure, right? Saying yes to trying new things, new hobbies, challenging ourselves in new ways. Like, that's living, right? When you run from the challenge and you run from the hard, you ain't living. You might be alive, but you ain't living. So that's what you were doing. And that's amazing. And still doing, right? Like, that's what we strive to do every day.
Yeah, and going into the TV show, Never Say Never, like, I'm traveling around the world doing all of these incredible adventures. We call them white people shit. Climbing off.
Listen, first of all, can we talk about that? Can we talk about white people shit? There is a reason. First of all, like, just like in the history of the U.S., right? Like, Black people were not leisuring the way white people been leisuring longer than us.
A long time.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, we need to look like, okay, show me the leisure shit what y'all been doing?
Yes.
Y'all seeing? Let's try that shit, right? Like, what else y'all doing? Like, we gonna do that too, right? Like,
you find out how fun it is,
exactly.
too. Like, you'll be like, oh, this
or not. Or we're like, that ain't for me. You know what I mean? But let's try it. Let's open
get to
ourselves.
know yourself.
Yes,
You get to know
exactly.
yourself.
And that's the thing is like you get to see that like white people shit is not just for white people. You know what I mean?
It's not. It was just not. It was, I mean, I'm not even gonna go into the history of it, but what actually got me there was back in the day, when I first was starting, I got to be on this panel. It was talking about diversity, and the guy was saying that it was a head of a hotel chain. And he was like, oh, like, yeah, I started finding out that like black folks or people of color don't like doing these things. And I was like, no, that's a lie.
Yes.
And I was like, well, one, we haven't had the options back in the day to do these things.
Right.
And now I'm trying to show people now, like that's why I'm here.
Yes.
Is to show people and help people discover the joys of being in the outdoors, discover the joys of hanging off a cliff. No, I'm joking. Nah, don't do that. But traveling around the world, that's one of the biggest things. Like the travel part, I think there's something about traveling and getting outside of your community or just where you've been. Like that really, really can change a lot about you. And you was mentioning that earlier.
Yes.
Like traveling, there's something about traveling that really can be a lesson and you can learn so much from it. Being able to see things that you only saw in movies or on TV or in books. Cause no, I mean, it blows my mind that I was not doing well in French class. And my teacher, I don't know if she really cared for me. But I'm pretty sure that and within 2 years or 3 years, not only was I going to all those places I saw in my French book, that I also have been to more countries than probably everybody in that class.
Yes.
Or even all the people that she's taught. So
Yes.
it's mind-blowing to even think about that.
Yes, I love it so much. Okay, so I'm sure folks here are wondering, all right, so you start your business, you're a travel influencer. Like, how are you making money?
Brand partnerships.
Okay.
That's how I make my money.
And how do you get those brand partnerships, especially in the beginning?
So in the beginning, actually somebody's here, or she's not in the room right now, but Glow from Glow Graphics.
Yes,
she actually helped me get my first like brand deal where I got paid like $500 and I thought it was the greatest money ever.
First of all, can we just talk about, I just love that everything that when we look at your story, it was your auntie, then it was your cousin, then it was your uncle, right? And now it's a friend. So your network, your community, okay?
Can't forget my queen.
Yes,
Nina,
your queen.
Definitely. She's...
Yes.
No, you don't know how many people was like, you're going to allow him to go do this? Like, it was a lot of allowing. Yeah, there's a lot of like, oh, okay.
I don't know if people know this, but when you're married, you don't own each other.
Come on.
And if you want to stay married long, don't try to own each other.
Yeah, so, and just her support has just been phenomenal. So thank you, babe. But yes, there have been people out there, and I forgot where we're going with that. Because I just had to
I was just saying, yes, the community that you had around you made things possible for you.
Yeah.
And you were talking about Glow helped you get your first brand partnership for $500.
Come on, and I thought it was great. Because you know what? I took her course, and it was $1,000. And I tell you, you could have told me that $1,000 was like $100,000. It really was. Like, it was that much money to me at that time because I was broke. And we were broke because she decided, she was like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur as well. I'm going to quit my job. So I was like, oh, we're both doing it at the same time, huh? Oh, okay,
this is great.
Here we go. So
health insurance, gone.
but you know what was crazy? Like, even at $500, so technically I only paid $500 for the course because I made $500.
There you go.
While in the course.
We call that ROI.
Come on. But
y'all know.
It was I actually still to this day, I don't really care to pitch myself. So I found out there was a method to it. I've learned that if you brand yourself well and you make compelling content and you put it out there and it becomes popular, people will just start reaching out. When I found out people did that, I was like, wait, you don't reach out to brands just come out to you? She was like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing. Because my homegirl, Onika, she's from Onika the Traveler. She's a content creator. So that's what I started doing. I was like, I'm just going to go for the gusto. I'm going to just start putting out my stuff. And guess what? Brands just started reaching out. It nonstop reaching out.
You know what I love about that? You are leaning into the part that you love, right? Like you don't like to sell or you don't want to like do that part. So, but the thing you are good at is the content creation and the
Yes.
traveling, right? And so you're like, okay, I'm gonna lean all the way into that, get really good at that, and that's gonna attract
And that
this
was
other
that
piece.
10X rule by Grant Cardone. I always tell people to read that book if you ain't read it. I feel like that's why I've moved so fast is because I read that book. Like I feel like I'm like jogging or like not jogging. I feel like I'm like skipping. While other people are over there like doing like this, and I'm
Yes.
just skipping because frolicking. That's it. Yes,
It's
I'm
a frolic. $1 million frolic.
There is so much. There's so much. Like if you just put the energy and the effort into it, like 10X it, do more than other folks are doing, it literally can like minimum or it can make the journey go faster. And I love that part. And then I started reading her book as well. So and I became her biggest fan. She doesn't even know that, but
Cut it out. We're
yeah.
fans of each other.
But yes, but like I started making money that way. And then that's when Nat Geo reached out like 3 years or when I was 3 years in, which is still mind blowing to me to think like I only did something for 3 years. I wasn't even a journalist that long. Like I even became a journalist because I was like, oh wait, you make how much for a blog post or for an article? You make $400, you make $1,000 and I can still go on a trip. I was like, oh yeah, sign me up for that. And then I won an award for my journalism work. I was like,
Hey.
what? So it was one of those things of just like, man, I was just in a lot of ways just trying to diversify my income in that way, and then it just continued to just grow from there.
Yes. I also like that you just like following the clues. What should I be doing next? Okay, I figured this part out. That's happening. Oh, I could get paid for an article. Let me do that in between while I'm waiting for those blog posts to those brand partnerships to pop off. You know
Nothing happened at first, guys. It was just my mama. It wasn't even her at first. No, my wife wasn't even like liking stuff. I was like, God,
First of
dog.
all, can we talk about that? Because my husband, I'm like, you ain't gonna like my posts?
Bruh, it wasn't that she wouldn't like it. She just wasn't on it to see it.
No, but like,
but yeah.
get on there, give it a heart, and give me a comment. I'm out here by myself.
That's
Help
it.
me.
That's what I need.
Help me.
But she was my editor back in the day, so I do have to give you that. Yes, she was my editor, and she's taught me how to actually articulate what it was I was trying to say. Too,
Yes.
so.
Yes. Okay. All right. So Nat Geo reaches out. Is it like a particular piece of content that drew their attention, or do you think it's just over time they were watching you for a while?
Well, people are always watching everybody.
Yes.
Like I've learned that. Like in the TV world, like there's people like whole job is just to watch people. And they was like, ooh, this person might be somebody. This might be, because I got pitched for like 4 other shows, but none of them being my own show, which is crazy. And what I got pitched to do is not the show that we ended up doing. And I said, I'm going to take these meetings and tell these people yes. And I'm going to tell my story because I think what I'm doing now is probably more compelling than what they want to do.
Yes.
And that's literally what happened. I kept going and they came back and was like, you know what, Jeff? How about we just expand on what you're doing now? And I said, there we go.
Yeah.
So,
you want to just do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Good job.
So yeah, I know the woman who found me as well. But yeah, like it's just me just sticking to my guns. And so y'all do know, even when I was doing my like interviews, I did like 7 interviews like back to back within a week. And the lady was like, are you shocked that like Nat Geo is like reaching out to you right now? And I said, no, ma'am, because I was like right here. And I brought up my phone and I was like, every single day I read off like my affirmations and then my goals. And you see this one right here? It says, one day you will have a TV show, a travel show. And she's like, oh, I have goosebumps. I think that's how I got the show. Because it was at that moment, she was like, I'm telling everybody this.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was like, and that's the other thing. When you got direction, people follow in line. It is mind-blowing when you tell your dreams and your goals, people want to actually help you get to your dreams and your goals because they're not confident enough to go for theirs, or they just like, man, I want to see this through.
Yes.
So it's like, man, let me be the person to help so-and-so or help Jeff get to the goal that they're trying to get to.
It's so true. And that's why we have to learn to ask for help and build in public and not be ashamed to say what our dream is and what we want, right? Don't be too embarrassed to do that because people will jump in to help you and support you and get you there. But you got to be putting it out there in the first place, right? You have to be vulnerable first, which I love. And I love that you were like, I know what I want to do. One of the things that you said to me when we've talked before is, and I love this, and I've repeated this to so many of my clients, that like, we are actually better content creators than these networks.
Come on. Oh my gosh.
And because I know I'm a better content creator than my publisher, right? Like, their ideas of what they were gonna do, I was like, no, we're not doing it that. We're not calling it that. I'm not writing about that. Nope, we're not taking the slang out. That's how I talk. You know what I mean? Like, I was directing what I wanted and was owning it. And guess what? When you're confident and you're just like, this is what we're doing, that's what happened. You know what I mean?
For sure. Don't let these people fool you. Even with some of these big corporations and stuff like that, this is the people that's doing like the social media or the content side, they're entry-level people. Some of these people ain't even go to school for this stuff. So I was like, oh, y'all trying to bamboozle me. Nah, bro. I'm learning this stuff. I'm doing this. This is my life. This is my day-to-day. And I was like, man, I definitely know I can do doper things than what y'all are trying to give me right now. And
Exactly.
and even I just met with this woman named T today that's here. She's a Schmilly. And she even was talking about that today. She was just like, Jeff, you come with the ideas with these people. Like, don't let them dictate your whole thing. And I was like, I needed to hear that again because like, literally it's so much easier. This brand tried to take me there. They put it on the itinerary. They wanted me to go to a cemetery. And it was a Black historic cemetery. But I was like, how is this going to translate for my audience? My audience is not going to look at this and be like, ooh, let me like. Like it just don't make sense. It doesn't flow with my audience, with my brand. So I just make sure that you're the person that knows your brand. And I have to bring this back up. We mentioned brand, and you mentioned brand the other day. Like, it becomes very easy to like say yes and no to things when you know your brand.
Yes.
And like take advantage of your brand. Like Building the Story Brand by Donald Miller. That's one of my favorite books because what it does is it helps you articulate. It helps you form. We talked about like being able to say your whatever you do in less than a couple of sentences or a couple of words because it's when you get to that point and you being able to articulate it. I love how he says that like at first it's just you that knows your brand and then people start asking you like, oh, how's things going? And they be like, oh, I'm doing this. And then they come back and they be like, oh, how's Chubby Diaries going? And then it goes from being like them knowing to where other people are coming up to you being like, hey, so-and-so told me about Chubby Diaries and they told me this is what you're doing. So that's when you start knowing that your brand is. You want to get people to start talking about your brand.
Exactly.
Like, so branding is just very important. I wouldn't be in the position that I am right now if I didn't start saying this. If you've heard an interview of mine, you probably have heard me say half of this stuff I already said because it's a part of my brand.
Yes.
Like I have to say this story because I know this is the story that's compelling. This is the story that moves needles. This is the story that people need to hear and be inspired by. And then also it just continues to elevate my brand and it helps people do it. So continue to think about your brand. Continue to know who you are. But once again, if you don't know how to brand yourself, go read a book. Literally, everything's in the book. It's really in there. Like that Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, it'll teach you everything you need to know.
Yes.
Definitely about branding.
The other thing, if you are so specific with your brand and if you don't keep changing it, right? If you can be consistent with it, then people will see it and after watching it for a while, they'll see how they could fit in. Mm-hmm. So it's like, they're like, oh, your Tetris piece is here and my Tetris piece is here. I can see how we could do something together, right? But if you keep changing it or if you're not consistently putting it out there, then nobody can find a way to get in with you. So you're like, you need to attract it. It becomes a magnet, right? For other people, for these brand partnerships with that consistency. It's hitting the same high notes over and over again. I don't need to keep inventing new things. I mean, I will in some ways, but I'm not going on this other journey. I'm staying here with it and I'm repeating the same thing because people need to hear it again and it hits them differently the next time, right? Because they're in a different place. So it's like, don't feel like you have to reinvent the wheel all the time. Stop doing that, actually. Trust what you've already created. I think we always want to run to the new thing because we don't want to stick with it and get into the messy middle like Ivy was talking about. So just go through that because on the other side of that, there's magic.
And if you're not reading books multiple times, no, the same book.
Yes.
If you're not reading the same book multiple times, you're missing out.
Yes.
Because if y'all have not read We Should All Be Millionaires multiple times, because I'm telling you, there's stuff you hear and you be like, ooh, I didn't even hear that the first time. I didn't hear that the second time. Like, oh. Or you need that constant reminder like, yeah. So,
that's why I love audiobooks, podcasts, because I keep something positive in my ears all the time, okay? All right, I have to talk to you about the experience of doing the TV show And like, what was that like? What part did you like? What part was challenging for you? And then I have some follow-ups.
All right. Well, I love doing the show. One of the coolest things is that like I had a 30-person like crew. So it'd be like 15 people travel with me the whole time, and then the other 15 were like locals. And so to have that big of a production, even for my first show, is like almost unheard of.
Yes.
You don't know how many people in the black or like in Black Hollywood has come up to me and talked to me and just been like, bruh, like they were constant reminders of like, this doesn't happen. Like this is like it's like a 1 in a billion kind of thing. So to be able to have that, take a note to it and appreciate it. And I was like, I definitely have. So it was fun, like being on set with a crew. Everybody's intention is on me for the most part. It's not me saying like I'm vain and like I want all eyes on me, but it's really cool to have that many people like worried about you and thinking about you like, oh, Jeff, Mr. Jenkins. So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I like this. But then learning how to delegate. So it was so much about the show that I got to learn. And then to even be going through these experiences, people say, what was the biggest takeaway from you shooting the show? I was like, man, how resilient I am.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know going through, like, y'all, they literally have me hanging from cliffs.
They had you doing the most.
Like, white water rafting down waterfalls.
Yes.
Doing a whole bunch of, crossing a suspension bridge a mile in the sky.
Listen, if you have not watched the show yet, you need to watch it. You will be screaming, okay, on your couch.
and then like just one of them was, and it was a really personal one. It was like taking my shirt off in public. So I went and did sumo wrestling in Japan. I did not want to do it because I always felt like somebody, just me being a big guy, somebody in Hollywood was like, hey man, I'm sure he's gonna go sumo wrestle, right? And I knew, and then they did it. Boom, it was right there. I was like, God, dog, and I knew y'all was gonna make that happen. But I told him, I was like, man, I ain't taking nothing off. I was like, man, this look crazy. They in diapers, like what's going on? But well, I made the rule from the beginning. I said, guys, from the jump, I'm not taking my shorts off. Like at all. That's not happening. But they was like, well, can you do your shirt? And so even through the show, the challenge actually ended up becoming like, it wasn't me getting in the ring with this former world champion sumo wrestler who could like literally murder me. It was me taking off my shirt in front of public, and then possibly millions of people seeing this thing.
Yes.
And so for me to be able to do it, how liberated I felt, and how much it liberated so many other people. And I always tell people this, like my whole thing is not about promoting obesity. My whole thing is to get in people who are plus size to live life now.
Yes.
Like I said earlier, like it's all about getting us active and getting us doing things. But when people don't see that they can do these things, and when they see me and they be like, you know what, I can go try this now. Beautiful story yesterday, a woman, and she told me that she had a heart attack. She watched the show. The show helped her. It motivated her to get out there. And so her sister asked her, hey, I'm going white water rafting. She's like, I'm going. And so the fact that she was able to go do that and get out there, even after this like major, like life-altering kind of surgery, and to be able to still get out there and do it, it just really blows my mind because of just like how my show and me getting out there and pushing myself, it pushed her to go do something too. So I'm thankful for that story.
That's amazing. I love it. What did you do the day that your show came out to like celebrate this moment?
Well, no celebrating. I was stressed.
You were stressed?
Yeah, I was stressed.
Why?
But I was in New York, and I think we did Good Morning America on that the day before. But what I did was I woke up, and I don't know, like presence of mind was like, I need something, because I was like, is my life gonna change? I don't know. So I don't know how I found it, but I looked up, I typed in like famous people talking about fame. And the one thing that stuck out was from Matt Damon. Matt Damon had mentioned that like who you are, like you're still you. And the perception of you is still you. But it was the world's perception of you has changed.
Yes.
And I loved hearing that because it grounded me in that moment, because it almost felt like everything was just going everywhere. Like, I mean, I'm not home. Like, I'm even the day of my show for the premiere, I'm in North, and I got to go south to Austin. So it's like it was just nonstop moving. So it was like hard to really ground myself. And then it was like the possibilities, the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And so, will people like the show? I don't know. So I was stressed out, you know?
Yes. Because I felt that when my book came out. It's like there's stories in there that I'm like, oh, I feel so raw. You know, like y'all in my business.
Come on.
You know what I mean?
And my show is like that, yeah. And that's what I was saying. Like, will people be like, why did they put this fat guy on a TV show? Like, oh, here we go again, you know? But yeah, it was me being able to take that time to like ground myself. And then one of the most beautiful things that I ever, like, I was like, oh, this is the chef's kiss, or thank God for it. It's like, as we were driving to the airport, I'm the only person in the car that sees it, but like my billboard is hanging up in New York.
Wow.
Like on my way to the airport. And I said, hey.
That's me.
And I was looking like, oh, and I'm like, oh, I'm the only one who just saw it. But yeah, I got to be on New York, like a billboard in New York City.
Yes.
Like, bro, I said that 2 years prior to actually even getting on that billboard. Like, y'all, one day I'm gonna be on one of these billboards. It might be that one, but I'm gonna be on one of these billboards one day. So that was always a dream of mine.
Oh my gosh. I love that so much. I love that you were so specific with your asks, right? Like, you know what you need and what you want. You were very clear, right? You put it out into the world. You were specific about it. You worked towards it. You kept taking action towards it. You used your community to help you get there. Hello? What have I taught y'all? Living proof right here. Thank you so much for being here. I literally could talk to you all day, but I'm gonna respect time.
I didn't even realize what time.
I know, right? Like, it feels like it was 5 minutes, but thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. I know it blessed people. I see them taking notes. They got laptops out. They were like, oh, no.
You know, and just real quick, I just want to say, like, it's interesting how, like, when you put yourself out there, how, like, these things can actually happen for you. Like, I would just want to say this. Everybody in this room has their own superpower. And like, Rachel has her Rachel superpower. Don't be Rachel.
Right.
You can't fly, but you got the lasers.
Right.
Use your lasers. You feel me? So whatever your superpower is, like, really hone in on your superpower, because guess what? If you hone in on your superpower and you become great at these superpowers, then you get to be on the Avengers team, you know?
Yes.
So like figure that out. Like, figure out what your thing is. I've never said that ever, and it sounded good.
Yeah, it was good. That was a gem. Thank you so much, Jeff. Let's give Jeff some love. And make sure you catch the show, Never Say Never. Watch it on Disney+.
Hello, my friends. I have some very exciting news. ROI, the Millionaire Summit, is back. January 2025. Me, you, and 1,000 of our favorite besties, business besties that is, in Los Angeles. You don't want to miss it. We've had incredible speakers in the past like Tabitha Brown, Ivy McGregor, Pink Cole, and we're going to bring more amazing entrepreneurs for you to learn from so that you can grow your business and get that ROI. So go to hello7.co/ROI for all of the details, find out everything you want to know, and don't miss this exclusive drop because it only lasts for 48 hours.
Hey, do you enjoy money? I do. If you want to make more money, then you need to join We Should All Be Millionaires, the club. Go to hello7.co/club to see everything you get once you become a member. hello7.co/club. In the club, we teach you how to maximize your earning potential, how to make better financial and business decisions, how to set up systems so that you're building wealth over time. We keep you focused on your financial and business goals. And we do fun activities throughout the year to keep you motivated. During our last Money Making Challenge, our club members earned a grand total of $3,519,262.66. Okay? $3.5 million as a community. That's a lot of money, y'all. If you want to get in on this, go to hello7.co/club and become a member.